I'm going to put on the, share the screen so we can see what's happening. Hi, Nikki. Okay. Get this to work. Here we go. It's going to work. Alrighty. So there's a maximum of 18 panelists here. So it looks of it. Okay. All right, everybody. So welcome to Getting Into Your Flow in Life with Divine Healing. This is a free healing webinar that I was inspired to create to help you guys move forward on your path. So I'd just like to hear from a couple of people. We've got 22 of you, so you can't all talk or have a say. Just a few of you who'd like to just say briefly, really briefly, why you're here. So we set a bit of intention. So Alana, do you want to share why you're here?
I don't know. I just felt called to show up and take a healing. It's been hard sometimes, but business is great, and I'm so grateful to you, Nicolas. So I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, thank you. And just say where you are, Alana, so people know.
Oh, I'm in Oakville, Ontario, in Canada, and I also brought my friend Ali.
Hi, Ali.
Hello.
Okay. Why have you come, Ali? Just briefly.
Well, I've worked with Alana in the past, and I've never done a divine healing, so I feel really privileged to be here. Okay,
thank you. If you guys have got the video on, if you want to scan through the pictures on the right, you just click on the little chevrons at the top and bottom of the pictures, and you can actually see the different people here. Okay, so Diane, just briefly, why have you come tonight? What's your intention?
Well, me, just curiosity, to be fair.
Okay.
I just wanted to know what you were up to, and strangely enough, I never realized that it was about divine healing. I never saw that bit for some odd reason. It's just now that you put the presentation up that I can see it.
Well, divine healing is an integral part of it, but we'll get into what that is in a little while.
Yeah.
Okay. Nikki, do you want to give us a brief intention? I can't hear you. Is your mic plugged in? Yeah, it's not. Sounds. Wiggle it around a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
I've done the level 1 and level 2 divine healing.
You have to get a bit closer to your computer, I think. It's a little bit better, yeah.
I've done the level 1 and level 2 divine healing. Kind of in a people at the moment as to what my next step is.
Okay.
I might have around moving and
Okay, you're a bit faint. You wanted to move full time, did you say, into your spiritual work?
into my spiritual work.
Okay. All right. Okay, we can help with that. Julia, do you want to give a brief intention? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Well, I'm into any kind of healing. I'm open to it. I figure it can hurt, and if it does any good, then right on, if you know what I mean. So I'm open to everything right now.
Okay, cool. All right, last one, Karen. What's brought you here? I can't quite hear you yet. I think you got it plugged in.
Is this better?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
You can? Okay. Yes, I'm here. I do want to go full time, but I want to shift from the inferior feeling into being in service. And sometimes I feel like the inferior hinders being in service. And I know that that's the goal, is to offer this in a service type of motivation, instead of me having the need to be rescued myself. So I'm wanting to work through that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Actually, we have one more. Kevin. Kevin, what brought you here?
Can you hear me okay, Nicolas?
Yeah, you're nice and loud. Go for it.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend, Briege.
Ah, okay.
And she's told me a lot about you, and I'm just very interested to experience your work.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to do that now. All right. Thank you, guys. If you just want to self-mute on the bottom left, if you now, otherwise we're getting you to keep the background noise out, because we're recording this. It'll be on YouTube. Okay, on my YouTube channel, just so you're aware of that. So, I think you're all here because you want to help the world. This is our little marketing blurb. I should talk about me first, actually. So I'm Nicolas David Mann of the Centre for Conscious Ascension. Some of you haven't met me before. And I've been on the spiritual path 30 odd years, 20 years full time. And divine healing is a tool, which is what we're going to use tonight to get you into your flow, that came out of Almira, who used to be my business partner and wife in running the Centre for Conscious Ascension. We needed a tool to clear our issues to get into our flow, because we had a lot of resistance programmed into our egos, stopping our spiritual mission to help the world getting out there. And we spent probably 6 years trying to find the right sort of tool. And she developed this tool with 2 other very experienced healers to really peel through our egos, because our souls had a strong drive to get on with our mission of service, but we were frustrated by the degree of programming we have. So this tool was developed for ourselves, actually, but also for light workers like you, so you could get on with the mission, because we all have specific things we want to do here, but we land in these human avatars, these egos, these earth suits, and we have to burn through all the stuff in the earth suit before we can get on with the mission, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. And the result of that is you can feel like you're left behind by life. You know, we have all these aspirations of where we want to go, but we're not getting a lot of traction initially. And so, and this is caused by mostly unconscious abandonment and emotional blocks in terms of being in the flow, and stuff we can't actually get to. I mean, we're very left brain in the Western world, and we try and think our way through it and figure it out, but it doesn't work, because it's a deep unconscious feeling that we have to access at a feeling level. And in doing that, that enables us to become more connected and stable and secure with the flow of life. I remember when I started this business 20 years ago, I was far from this. I was very much into this and this, wondering, is this actually going to work? Because I left my full-time corporate job. And it was very scary to start with, but I had to learn to swim by breaking through this stuff here. And so this process is, we're going to go through, is quite powerful, and it's for absolute beginners and for those who've been on the path a long time. So let's talk about, well, what process are we going to do? What we're going to do is I'm going to explain how the process works, and we're actually going to go and do it. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar, some of you are very familiar with this, but what is divine healing? It was a multidimensional healing system that comes from Source, that opens us to grace, doing things the easy way. And it was designed so that we could come online and carry out our missions. It's a very quick and simple, profound way, as you experience, a set of healing tools which you can use on yourself and on others. So we reconnect to spirit, which is the source of our flow. And as we reconnect to that source, it becomes self-empowering, because in this reality, it's very much designed to keep us in fear and in a place of feeling like a victim and disempowered, so that we don't actually get on with our missions. And basically, it's designed to create, it's keys to enlightenment, to raising, your consciousness to a very high level. And the more conscious and enlightened you become, the better the flow in life. So what we're really doing is feeling our way into higher consciousness with this sort of work. And divine healing is comes from many different high dimensional schools, angels, extraterrestrials, ascended masters, a whole range of beings got together to create this so we could go home in consciousness to source, which is what Ascension's about, which is about the raising of consciousness here on Earth, going back into oneness. But while we're in these avatars, these Earth suits, it's going to help you make life really happen, understand and then transform the fundamental underlying programming. A lot of people feel that if they understand what their program is, they've changed it, but that's not the case. You've actually just got awareness of it, but transforming it is another matter altogether. And as you transform your programs, you can make your dreams come true. This is the deep drives that come from our soul that wants us to really get out there with its mission. And it's supplying us its vision. And as we heal ourselves and clear our egos, the vision can start to manifest into reality because our frequency rises and we connect to our true essence and tap into our gifts and qualities. When I first started using divine healing about 10 years ago, when Amara first taught it, because I'm the only other teacher as well of it, I was far from any of this. Life was a struggle, barely making a living. But now there is more love and joy and fun and aliveness, but it takes time to clear a human ego. But it has resulted in creating more flow and becoming a master of my life in terms of creating the creating the reality I desire in my mission of service here on Earth. I'm just going to clear my throat. Sorry about that. So, if there are any questions, just you can raise your hand. There should be a little hand on your the bottom of your control panel there. So, who are we? Well, we are a flame of consciousness, pure consciousness, surrounded by this ego onion which our soul builds. That's our filter on how we interact with each other and with the reality. And this is actually what stops our flow coming, because our flow doesn't come from this reality. You can think of this reality as like a three-dimensional projection screen. It is the Matrix for those of you who've seen that. It's a good metaphor, the Matrix. And we are creating our reality from this part of ourselves, the pure love that we are. But what happens is that we get this ego which we create, which then distorts what's coming out of here. And so therefore we get lots of limitation and karma and blockages. And we have this mission which is dear to our heart, but we can't get it out there. We can't actually get into our flow because this is blocking it. So the purpose of divine healing and what we're going to do tonight is start to peel a few layers of this onion. Okay. So what happens here is that we peel the onion layer by layer in the correct order, which is what divine healing does, because it uses our higher self, which created us, created our ego here in the first place. So it knows how to dismantle this onion. So there's an order to this. So rather than floundering around in the dark, it's about surrendering to higher consciousness so that we can actually come in and embody more of this flame of consciousness. So Ali and Alana have asked me, how does divine healing compare to theta healing? The difference is that you don't have to be in a theta state to do it. And being in a theta state is actually quite challenging to come into, which is why it doesn't always work, to be honest. Okay, but when you can be in it, it does work well. Okay, so, but every healing modality has a different orientation. The core principle of this work is ask and you shall receive. If you're aligned to your higher self and your client's higher self when you work, and you ask in the right order, it will happen. The dismantling of the ego will happen, and the clearing of the programs, some which seem like they'll be there forever, they'll gradually dissolve. But peeling a human ego is quite a challenge, as you all know. Okay. So when we peel our ego onion, what we're going to do is that we're going to grow lotuses out of the mud. And the mud is really our emotional separation, the unconscious programming we carry. And the lotuses are the gifts we're here to deliver to the world. So by bringing consciousness to our mud, our programming that the soul has put in place, layer by layer we convert it into our gifts. So our greatest gifts come out of our greatest challenges in life, out of our karma, even though our ego would like to turn away from it and not experience any of it if it could, avoid it at all costs. Which is why many people get stuck, as you might have noticed, in life, because they're not prepared to dive into the mud and transform it. But there's great richness and nutrients in the mud of life in terms of our emotional separation. So how do we get to the state? Well, here's how we got there. This is a model for what's actually going on at a higher level. So we're multidimensional beings, and Source, all that is, Great Spirit, call it God if you like in a non-religious sense, had an outbreath of consciousness. And think of God as, in this model, a 12th dimension. So this very high vibration. It basically, there was an outbreath, and we gradually densified from light into individuated beings, astral beings, and into physical, apparently solar beings in the 3rd dimension, which is what we're in here now. And so the very act of this outbreath and coming into a sense of separation from all that is, or source, creates the illusion that we are separate and therefore disconnected from source, disconnected from the flow, and that's inherent in being human. And coming into the flow requires reconnecting back to this while still in the body. Okay. And as we do that, then the flow of abundance, knowledge, ideas, whatever your flow is, your business starting will start to happen. So the most important things you can do in your life to create more flow is not try and take it from someone else, or just use 3rd dimensional business techniques to get what you want. The most important investment in your, to be in the flow is in yourself, to clear the pathway back to source. Because if you can do that, then your life and your business will happen. So let's go here. So these are the 3 primary separation programs. This is probably the most important diagram I'm going to show you. These are the 3 primary separation programs that we as humans activate in us by becoming separate from source, separate from God. The very fact of being in a body means we feel at a deep level we're abandoned by God, which is what we're going to work on tonight. We can also feel unworthy to be loved by God because God's over here. So over here, and we're over here. And then there's also a mistrust of God, mistrust in the flow, unworthiness to receive the flow. Okay, no flow. It's been disconnected. And all of our ego programs come off these 3 programs. These are the core. This is the core product of that outbreath. This is what happens by being human. And the journey of life is about burning through these 3 in all their different combinations and variations, so that we can actually reconnect to source and flow. So if you work on all these 3 patterns consciously in your life, you're going to get into your flow, and life will come to you rather than having to chase it. So there'll be a few more webinars. I'm going to do one on unworthiness and on mistrust over the next couple of weeks, so as well, if you want to try those out. So what do we do as these small human beings in a body when these programs come up? Our programs come up as we rise in consciousness. Usually what most people do is that they judge the programs and feel bad about it, and the program gets stronger because of the judgment. Okay, and or they may go into complete avoidance if they don't even want to feel it, which means people get into addictions and drugs and all sorts of stuff like that to numb out, which is the majority of humans. Or you can take this middle path where you can resonate and own the program, bring feeling consciousness to it in the body, find its origin. So therefore, the more consciousness you can bring to the programs which are blocking your flow, the easier it's going to be to shift them. Okay. So how do we do that? How do we bring consciousness to the flow? Okay. I'm just showing this because you're going to actually go through this process in a little while. So in order to heal an issue which is blocking your flow, first you have to have the willingness, desire, and courage to feel the issue, because our ego is inherently pain avoidant and wants to move away from the issue. So by bringing feeling consciousness to the issue, by projecting our consciousness into it, we can actually expand into the issue and feel the layers of it. Okay, so it's not about understanding it, it's about feeling it. Because when you can feel something, you can heal it. Because all the soul wants you to do is actually feel the thing, and then it can let it go. But with divine healing, we heal it, we feel it, but we also use what we call command codes. We ask the higher self to actually dissolve the program once we felt it. But the ego is not going to let us do that easily, because its job is to keep us in a sense of separation from all that is. So sometimes healing is not possible because we numb out the issue with this sort of turquoise emotional ice. So we can't feel it, therefore it's not going to shift. So what we do here is that we need to break through that ice. We need to break through the ego's defenses gracefully without destabilizing ourselves and move into feeling again. And when we work as a group, which is what we're doing tonight, about 27 of us now, by the looks of it, is that when we work as a group, it's much more powerful. And as we break through, grace descends, and we get the release of the program because we felt it, and it shifts. Okay. So here's the mechanism of what we're actually trying to do overall. All right. What we're actually doing here is that this is a model. This is a Vedic model of who we are. And this is how you access your flow. So this is the higher self. This is a permanent part of us that's forever. It has a God self, a higher emotional body, and a non-linear mind. And this is connected to cosmic consciousness. And everything that you are was created here and projected down into the impermanent personality, into this avatar, this physical vehicle, with its 7 energy bodies and an emotional body full of emotional separation. And the purpose of the emotional separation is not to create pain and suffering, but to actually, for us to burn through the many layers of it and claim the gifts from the different karmic programs we carry. Because only when we've actually gone from the opposite of what we're to become to actually transmuting each program, the gifts we're here to deliver, our unique gifts, become available. We also have our mental body, our linear ego mind, which thinks it knows what it's doing, but doesn't really. We have this very important blue connection, which is our antakarana. This is the connection from the higher self to the impermanent or the lower self. And this is where high consciousness flows through. But as you can see, when you first start down here, it's very small, which is why we tend to be a bit unconscious when we first arrive on Earth. And so the idea here is that we need to expand this and access this higher consciousness, because this is the source of the flow. It needs to be really increased. So what happens as we do that, as we start to clear with divine healing or whatever other healing method you use, this lower self, the antakarana starts to open up. And then what happens is unconditional love comes through. And as that comes through, this is the source of your flow. First of all, you're going to feel better about yourself. How many of you guys have felt better about yourself since you've been on the healing path? Put your hands up. I have. I'm much happier now than I was when I started this path. Life was pretty miserable because my antakarana was pretty small. Lucky to be alive, I reckon. And as you increase this flow of unconditional love, that actually releases a lot of judgment of the ego has of these programs. And the less judgment you have of the programs, okay, the more the more the programs are going to let go. And if you keep healing yourself, what happens is this. The antichrona gets bigger and more love flows. And this here, what it starts to do is it starts to flow out into the world, and the higher self here starts to project your true mission, that feeling you have deep inside of that, something special you're here to do, starts to flow out into the world and starts to manifest around you. So this is actually the true source of flow. It's from you at a higher level. And you are like a projector of this energy in the world. So getting this clear is really important. In the world, the matrix, the world just rearranges around whatever you're projecting through here. So this is keeping your projector lens, your personality clear is the most critical piece of this whole thing. You cannot use manipulation or clever business techniques or underhand business techniques or things like that, which a lot of people do. I'm not saying you guys, but in general people do in the world, to get what you want. This is the true source of flow, because this reality is just a projection of consciousness, really. And if you completely clear the antichrona, if you completely clear the lower personality, what you get is this. This is enlightenment, actually. It's a massive amount of love flows through, and then life just starts to appear around you. If you just allow this to happen, the higher self will create everything that you desire that's been in your heart. It will start to create it. It's got to be an authentic need, though. It will start to create it. And so this is where the personality, ego has actually dissolved. So you get this. This is when you're really in the flow. The ego is totally surrendered. It's let go of all its agendas and is at the service. It's like it's an interface with the reality for the higher self here, which is the four sides of the pyramid. And this unconditional love is creating everything you need in life. And so you don't have to worry about anything at this stage. It's about doing the right thing in the right moment. And then things just turn up, mission happens. Okay. So it's almost like you become a witness of your life playing out, but the life is flowing through you and out into the world. Okay. And bills get paid, things turn up, opportunities happen, whatever you need turns up. Okay. So what happens then is that as you clear these emotional blockages, see these are the red dots here, the flow of your life force coming through you is diminished by all these blockages. And so you get low energy, pain, a lot of limitation. But as you clear these, which is what we're going to do now, you get this. You get life force unleashed, more freedom, life happens. Okay. So any questions on that before we actually have an experience of this? Any questions there?
Nicholas?
Yes.
It's Alana.
Yeah.
I posted a quick question about kids and their antichrona. Do you want to address that now or another time?
Yeah, let me just have a look. Hang on.
And then Ali had another question that she posted.
Okay. Yes, the kids tend to be more open, simply because they have a lot less karmic patterning than us, because they didn't have to go into such density, didn't have to go to sleep. Look at my son, he just creates pretty much whatever he wants, and showing he's really open, because the kids don't lose the connection like we did. Okay.
So if we parent them well, they can keep their connection open. Is that correct?
Yeah. For those of you who are parents, your job is to, if you remember when they were born, you look in their eyes, you see this deep void, you see God staring out at you. Well, your job is to keep that look in their eyes so that they actually maintain it for the rest of their life. And you can get them to 7 with that look in their eyes. There's a good chance they'll keep it for the rest of their life. So they won't be shut down like, say, we were. And so their ability to manifest whatever they want will just be there, because they never lost the connection in the first place, and we have to work much harder to regain that connection.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Nicholas.
All right. So an authentic need here is where you can tell the difference. What you really truly need is if it opens your heart. If it opens your heart, it's the flow of spirit. Okay. And which I missed a diagram here, so talk about that. So most of us initially are following the path of the ego with all its endless desires. especially in the materialistic Western culture most of us live in. And it's never satisfying. You can never have enough of anything, because that's the little ego trying to prop itself up, because it's inherently feeling separate from higher consciousness, and therefore it feels lack. It's feeling that abandonment. There's never enough love. So I've got to have toys, have stuff, have status, whatever. So what we're doing here, say with divine healing, is that we're moving to following what we call the spiritual signature. And that's where in each moment, each action you take is an opening of the heart. If you follow what opens your heart in each moment, you start to follow this line here, and life opens and flows. But you've got to be clear enough to do that, to feel the signature and act upon it without your programs sabotaging you. So what happens is that we sort of converge initially, and life starts to get a bit easier, and then we converge here to the point where we're pretty much in it most of the time. And it's a bit like cooking, where you have an intuitive sense that something's ready, and you just follow the flow of that. It's the same idea. Life's like cooking, and if you follow that flow, things turn up. Life is graceful. Things that the little ego could never imagine will turn up, and the vastness of higher consciousness here, which is you can see the big picture of our life. What it's actually doing is that it is actually directing our life. So you're not actually in charge. You as a small human being in this body is actually not in charge. If you let go into this higher consciousness, let go into the flow of your heart, because your spirit, the part of you not embodied, and your soul is communicating to you through the heart. And if you go with that, there's actually nothing to worry about. And for those of you who are looking at making the leap into your own businesses and sort of hesitating at the cliff edge, if you follow the flow of what feels right, even though sometimes it's not logical, and you keep clearing your ego, it'll work out. But you're going to have to trust, because it will bring up all your issues of abandonment and trust. I'm not worthy of this. That's actually how you do the business. I mean, I used to be very linear when I started this business. And Namara taught me to do this. And once I started doing that, things worked a lot better. I stopped trying to figure out the whole thing. I would just be in the moment, doing what felt right. And that applies to business, applies to life in general. So this is actually the flow here, following the heart. Okay, and clearing your issues, which will come up. You know, when you take the leap to do your own thing, this is the only way it's actually going to work long term. You've got to go with the flow, otherwise it's going to be, if you do this, it's going to be very costly. It's just not going to work. If you're not following the flow of your spirit, it's no point really doing it. Okay, this is probably the most important diagram after the other one. If you can get from here to here. Okay. Ali, were you going to ask me a question?
Yes, Nicolas, thank you. I was debating whether to vocalize it or write it. So where I'm struggling is I follow the concept. Like I follow that you have to just let it flow. Where I get stuck is with the use of the word need. Because if I align what you've explained as how to get to a state of higher consciousness by using the word need, I'm actually not entering that process. Is how I feel.
Okay. Let's reframe a need. A need is really something coming from the soul for you to progress. A want is something coming from the ego, just to, stroke itself a bit more, just to preen. Okay, not essential, but a need is actually, okay, I need to eat, or I need to go on a certain course, or I need to do something to look after myself or to create my business. Okay.
So to enter the process, we need to identify what is authentic to us.
Yeah, what opens your heart is a true need. Okay. Yeah, what opens your heart?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Are there any other questions before we start the process? Questions are most welcome. Otherwise, I'm talking to my screen here to you guys. No one else got any questions? You have to unmute yourself if you do want to ask a question. or message me if you're not on the not in the panel group of panelists here. Okay. All right. Okay. So in that case, no more questions. We're just going to have a go at this. Okay. We'll do a little direct experience. So I have opened up a divine healing space to hold you guys prior to the start of this. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to clear some energy interference first. What we're going to do is we're going to do this. We are going to clear some astral beings which come from the lower astral plane, this red line, which is stopping you opening to higher consciousness. So what I'd like you to do is, if you've got shoes on, take them off and have your feet flat on the ground so you're grounded. All right. This will be a silent process, but you may feel some shift happening. So everyone, if you could do that. And if you watch the video again later, the same thing will happen. The transmission will be retained by the video. So that's for you guys who are watching later as well, offline. So first off, we're going to release what are called earthbound souls. These are beings who've left a physical body but haven't left the earth plane, who've got attached to you because you carry the same issue as their previous incarnation, okay? Just close your eyes and just open to this. Okay, just feel the shift there. You may literally feel things leaving your fields or your body in some cases. Okay, next group of beings. And now we're going to release discarnates, entities, and other energy attachments. There's all sorts of different species, I guess, of astral beings who can mess with your consciousness and limit. They hold your karmic programming in place. We're going to release a whole bunch of them now. Just feel the shift as they leave. I'm going to raise your vibration now. Okay, you can open your eyes now. All right, just breathe and feel that. Anyone like to share briefly how that was? Karen, how was that for you? Oh, I can't hear you. I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. In the second removal, I could feel things actually removing from the heart area, was very interesting.
Okay, thank you. Right, Nikki, how was that for you? Actually, no, we'll leave that unless because your mic's playing up. Julia, how was that for you?
Well, for me, it was more, it almost felt like I had you know how you have a head cold and your head stuffed up and
Yeah.
there's like a heaviness you feel? That's what I felt.
Is that before or after?
During.
During.
Yeah.
How's it doing now?
So, yeah, that's the only way I can describe it.
Okay. All right. Coco, I've unmuted you. How was that for you?
It was very good. I feel really like there was a lot of pressure around the top of my head, and I did feel, yeah, things being removed.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Let's do the next thing. Or anyone else?
Can I share?
Yeah.
It's Ally.
Ally, yeah, go for it.
So for me, it was I was feeling my hands, and I could feel the beings being removed from my hands. I actually felt my hands actually twitched.
Yeah.
And I could feel the extraterrestrial beings like just actually leaving my hands.
Yeah.
It was quite powerful.
Good. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, Nicolas.
Yeah. Diane.
It's Diane.
Yeah.
Yes, but for me, it's been a change of temperature.
Yeah.
Felt the cold. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All righty. Last one. Anyone else want to have a say?
Can you hear me?
Who's that?
My name's Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Hi. I felt like a real struggle in my throat, almost like a battle in my throat, like I was fighting something, and I was gulping a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think someone was coming out. So.
It felt like it.
Yeah. Okay, well done. Okay, just trying to switch a few more cameras on here. Okay. Alrighty. So there's energy interference, which is left. So what we're going to do now, this is in the Divine Healing Manual here. So what I'd like you to do, these are called main low frequency programs. So in Divine Healing, we actually have these diagnostic charts, these 26 charts in total. We're only going to use a few of them tonight. So these 26 charts, and they all are used to actually remove specific types of programs in us, these hidden agendas, blockages to God, fears and phobias, judgments and beliefs which hold us back, past life stuff. We're going to do one of those, sabotages. So basically we're going to do a few of these charts, okay, and to actually clear some issues. So but actually what we'll do is we'll start with 55, okay. So what I want you to do is close your eyes and connect to the feeling in you that's been blocking your flow recently, just because it's all about intention, divine healing, okay? It could be pretty much anything, but just breathe through your mouth, breathe into whatever the feeling is, okay? Breathe into the mouth's important because it gets us out of our head, all right? And when you feel you've brought consciousness to that little red ball of whatever issue is strongest for you, because your soul has a specific order in which it wants to shift these things, just open your eyes. Okay, so anyone want to share the feeling that came up for them? I know, Ali and Alana, what feeling came up for you guys?
I had a couple.
Yeah, what did you have?
I had nervousness and jealousy.
Okay, all right, stay with that. All right. Okay. Let's have a look here. So, Coco, what feeling did you have? You have to switch your
My
microphone
main
on.
one was jealousy.
Okay. All right.
How's it? Yeah.
And how's that played out in terms of blocking your flow? What's it been doing?
Just it stopped me kind of just fully believing in my own self.
Yeah.
And just being totally in my own power rather than looking to what others are doing, feeling that sense of kind of like jealousy.
Yeah.
Stopped me thinking, well, actually, I've got my own kind of wisdom going on, and I need to just step fully into that.
Okay. All right. So any of you guys who are panelists, if you want to switch your cameras on, there's a few places here. If you want to show yourself, don't have to if you don't want to, just an invitation because some people switch their cameras off. Okay. Let's have a look. Who else is here? I'll put that back there. So Kevin, do you want to share how you felt? I'll unmute you.
Okay. It was just the thing for me was distraction, Nicolas.
Yeah.
In terms of what I'm trying to do, it's an obstacle.
Yeah.
And, that was the thing that really came to me.
Okay, so stay with that. So everyone who just stay with whatever feeling came out, because our intention was whatever blocked your flow the most, so your higher self will trigger that feeling. Okay, we use this chart there when you're not sure what the feeling is. Okay, so for those of you who weren't quite clear what that was, I'm going to scroll through these couple of pages here, and if you see one of these categories of low frequency programs jump out at you, that's your program. Literally, it'll jump out of the page. Like this one might jump out. If you're feeling inferior, you're not going to feel worthy of the flow probably. You're not good enough for it. So I'm just going to scroll through this slowly and write it down or memorize it, okay? Okay. Just have a look through those because your higher self will use this as a diagnostic. If you're not quite sure what it is, once you see it, it'll trigger you and you realize, oh, like codependency might jump out. I've had a bit of that in my life. Or loneliness. Okay. Write it down if you can. Okay. I'll have a little drink here while you guys do that. So what I want you to do is that, for those of you who haven't spoken, just become aware of how that program that's come up operates in your life without getting into a massive story, what it's actually about. Okay. All we're doing is bring consciousness to it. That's what we're doing now. We're doing this bit here. We're doing our red dot thing. We're doing that. We're just bringing consciousness to it. The ego may want to indulge in a story, but we're not interested in the ego stories particularly because it's a waste of time really. Just want to bring consciousness to it and breathe into that program, whatever it is. Some of the feelings, the emotions may be unpleasant, but that means you're onto it. You're actually onto a program, so you turn into the hard stuff or the painful stuff because it then will transmute it. Okay, then we're going to target where it comes from. So we're going to go to this chart here, chart O, which is the original time. Okay, so take a look at this chart here, and you can see that there are 24 numbers here. I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you just to pick a number in a minute. Just whatever number comes in your head is the correct one. It comes from your higher self. So pick a number between 1 and 24. The very first number is the one that counts. Okay. Okay. And your mind may think of other things, but it's actually just getting in the way. The first number is the correct number. I got alternate universes. So write down the original time, because what we're actually doing here is we're targeting. You don't have to understand the meaning of all these, because we're not at this stage. Just the very intention of stacking this into the healing process will means that your healing process will retain that number. Because these are like targeting coordinates, so we know if that's the source of where this comes from, it's going to take the program out a lot more deeply. So it could be jealousy taken out, say, in a past life, something like that. Okay, so we're bringing consciousness to the program. Okay. All right. So your higher self's actually got it all figured out. You just got to open to it, really. You know, even with this process, you don't actually have to. There's nothing to work out here. It's about opening and letting go to what is the divine wisdom inside you from your higher self. Okay, so we go back to these low frequency programs here. We're going to work on this. So what I'd like you to do now is just closing your eyes, open yourself to all aspects of the feeling of the low frequency program, jealousy or whatever it was, feeling unlovable, feeling in terror, feeling sad, whatever it is that was blocking your flow. Okay. Hi, Dorota. And don't worry about this extra chart bit here. And be aware of how your ego is attached to holding on to that program. Your ego is attached to everything that keeps us separate from all that is. Just feel that attachment. Just breathe, breathing through your mouth into that attachment. And become aware of any feelings of being bad for having that program. Could be, ooh, I got this one actually. I'm feeling bad. I've always had this unworthiness program. So be aware of the ego feeling bad about it, because that's locking the program in. Okay. And be aware of any judgment your ego has. That's also locking your programs in. Okay. So it's about just breathing and feeling the programs, just accepting them, because that means you're halfway home to actually dissolving it. All right. So all the things the ego wants to push away, we turn into them and feel them and accept them unconditionally. We just open to them. As we open to them, they start to dissolve. We can integrate and heal them. So I've actually got a physical manual here I'm working with as well. Keeping breathing through your mouth as you're expanding your consciousness through this process here. Okay. I'm trying to find my PowerPoint. You're actually expanding your consciousness. You're breaking through any barriers here, and you're expanding this consciousness into the program of what we're doing now. That's the purpose of what we're doing here. You can always play the video again and do another program. A lot of people use it on YouTube for that, I discovered. So breathing into that program, feeling as much of it as possible. I'm going to do the command code silently to actually burn through that program that you're bringing in consciousness to. So stay present with it as much as you can. Okay, here we go. Keep breathing. It's most important to keep breathing. Just feel the shift. And when you feel that layer of the programs dissolve, just open your eyes. So if any of you guys are panelists who want to speak, you can actually just switch your cameras on. Inna, do you want to join us with a camera? I don't know if you're up for that. So, who would like to share how that felt? Ali, how was that? I'll unmute you. I've got it. If you just bring the camera up a little bit, because we can just see your nose. Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually was able to, the shift for me was when I felt I could witness feelings, because my feelings were jealousy.
Mm.
So I actually was able to witness love and security.
Mm.
Just felt an embrace. That's how I felt the shift.
Mm.
It was through actually seeing this embrace on myself.
Okay. Do you feel a bit lighter as a result?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Thank you.
Yeah. So you just peeled a layer there. So if you just keep peeling the layers with the intent, if your intention is to create more flow, your higher self will direct it and go in that direction. Okay, this is all about intention here, because you're creating your reality in each moment. So you're changing it by getting clear where you want to go.
Understood.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Because our ego tends to look at the past, all the things that didn't work, and focus on that. And as a result of the law of attraction, we just tend to get more of it. So it's about taking the ego's energy away from it. It's actually quite challenging to go from staring at our navels to actually focusing on where we want to go. But we starve the ego of its negative focus and go to where we want to go. Then that's how we peel the programs, because it will try and stop us. But the programs will come up to be peeled like this, and then because it's given itself away, because it's tried to stop us, basically, and we can move forward. You were going to say?
I was going to comment on how you guided us there. So I had the feelings of jealousy, and then the number that came up to me was the preconception.
Yep.
It's number 10.
Yep.
So does that mean that my feelings of jealousy came from a time before I was conceived? Is that logic?
Yeah, the program would have been put in place prior to incarnation, just prior.
Understand.
Yeah, probably in that.
That's what I thought, so thank you for confirming that.
Yeah, and because you focused on it, you very targeted it, went a lot deeper, the clearing. That's why we do that.
Yes, thank you.
Who else would like to share? You can just wave your hand if you'd like to. Okay, Coco, what was that like for you?
It was really interesting because the number that came up with the association for the jealousy was 17, which was between lives. So I didn't really feel an association of the jealousy, if that makes sense. It was almost like I went through, I could feel myself going through the layers, but it was more about acceptance of this life. That's what it felt like.
Okay, yeah, accepting our lives the way they are is the first thing to do. That's pretty challenging to do.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you then. Can you say that again?
Acceptance of our lives exactly as they are is the first step in creating the flow, because when we deny any part of us, that's blocking the energy. Because we all carry a lot more separation than we'd like to acknowledge. Yeah. Anyone else like to share their experience of that? Dorota, how was that? Do you want to say hi? You up for that? Hang on, I'll unmute you.
Yes. Hello. Sorry.
Hiya.
Sorry, I had to take care of my boy. That's why I couldn't. I had to go and come back.
Yeah.
Hello, Alana. For me, actually, what came out was toxic, and it doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. It never came out before. Usually, it's like unworthiness, all this stuff. Toxic, very strange.
Well, it could be toxic physically or emotionally or mentally. To have a think about what that could be for you. and where your life is.
Yeah, that's to sort of, that's something new. I know it's yeah, maybe I know. I think I have a little bit of like self-destructive program. That's what I think. If I figure that,
well, that's pretty toxic.
Yeah, that would make sense then.
Yeah.
Never came up before, so something to think about and process.
Well, the divine healing, your higher self gets to the closest possible chart listing that relates to what's going on. It may not be the exact words, but we got to it just then. You see. Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Yeah.
Nicolas, Ina here. How are you?
And do you want to switch your camera on, Ina?
Okay.
Yeah, so we can see you.
Yes. Hi. Can you
There
hear
you go. Oh, you're in the car.
Yes. For me, number 18 come up. If you can show it. Number 18. It's actually, I always think that somebody always have much more intelligence than I do.
You mean this one here?
18, yes.
Yeah. 18 on this chart here?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
18. So I always felt like I'm not smart enough or not intelligent enough to pursue what I believe is right for my life purpose.
Yeah.
That I always need to learn. I always need to get certificate. I always need to get a little bit extra in order to be more knowledgeable in certain areas.
Yeah.
And then of course reach out for people who are more teachers and learn a little bit. And then I felt still not at their level, and therefore I just stepped back and not moving forward. So that's kind of aha moment for me as we are going through this webinar.
Yeah. Very good. So you can see how the program is just an illusion. It's not real, but it makes a lot of noise, and you think it's real. So it's got power over you at that stage until you clear it, and you realize it's gone, and you're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Because they're all smoke and mirrors, these programs. You see, once you start to realize that, then you're just taking charge. Just taking charge.
It's all in our heads.
It's what it's about. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see
you. Anyone else want to share? No. Okay. We're going to get to the next one then. Okay. So I'd like you all to close your eyes and set the intention of being directed to the key past lives, the key past lives which have blocked you from being in the flow. Now, you might have been a monk or something who's been, taken a vow of poverty many times. Could be something like that. Who knows? Could have been a beggar. All right. You might have been I used to be a Jewish moneylender in the past, misusing money. So, all right. So you can open your eyes now. And so we're going to use this chart here, the past life. This is actually a past life death chart. Okay, so some of this might be relevant to you, might not. Okay, because it's about death. But we're going to use this process to actually clear whatever past lives are blocking your flow. I'm going to do a slight variation on this. Okay. So if you're not clear what that past life is, just look through the study and pick the one that jumps out at you the most. Okay. All right. One of these may, like failure, for example. Okay. All right. So I want you to breathe. Having your eyes closed is really important, so your mental body switch off. Okay. All right. Once you've found the past life issue, or just feel it. Even if you can't put words to it, just feel with your intention whatever past life or past life, type of past life has blocked you, blocking your flow. And write it down if you can. And then ask how many lifetimes are involved, and whatever number drops in your head is the number of lifetimes that we're going to clear. Could be, I had 15 just then for being a money lender. So what we're going to do is we're going to target, in my case, all 15 of them. So you're going to take them, dissolve those past life files which sit in your fields, which are blocking your flow now, and they'll be gone. That layer will be gone. So breathe your awareness into, in my case, the 15 past lives. Okay. Either past lives may be parallel lives as well, Alana and Ellie. So okay, breathe. Breathing through the mouth is really important. Breathing through the nose keeps you in your head. We're trying to get into the feeling in your body because it's all stored in your body, all this programming. We're just peeling it off one layer at a time in the right order. Breathing through your mouth. I'm going to do the command code quietly now, and I want you to keep breathing into those past lives as I clear the files for you. Doing this now. Just embrace the shift. Now I'm going to do what's called a zap code in Divine Healing, which is a much shorter clearing command code to clear some of the toxicity in your bodies because you released a lot of stuff tonight. Just going to find it here. Doing the zap code now to clearly detox you at an energetic level. Okay, so just clean your system out because when you do this sort of deep clearing, a lot of stuff will leave. Hi, Beth.
Hi. It's taken me that long to work out how to get on the camera.
Okay, well, you're here now. Good. All right, so when you're ready, just open your eyes. I was going to mute you, Beth, because we're getting a bit of background noise here. But if you need to speak, just click on the bottom left microphone button. Okay. All right. Okay, so who would like to share that experience? Kevin, how was that for you? I won't mute you. Got it.
Felt tightness in my chest, Nicolas, and I mean the only thing I could get was the number 4 in terms of what's gone before. I couldn't really pin down what the past lives were.
Yeah.
But certainly a physical reaction.
Yeah. Well, you would have got it because you set your intention, so the energy goes wherever you put your intention there.
Okay.
Beth, how was that for you? I've unmuted you.
I'm not sure I felt a lot. I think I was trying to get it right, trying to pick one out of all the list and going, oh, it could have been that, it could have been that. And I've had clairvoyance in the past, like describe things like being stoned, other things like that. And so my brain is going, okay, is that their version or is that the truth? So, but I think what I landed on was choked, because I had tons of stuff going on with my throat the whole time. I'm hypothyroid and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, it sounds like you might have been hanged or choked or something nasty happened. Yeah.
Lots of that stuff anyway.
Okay. Mikhail, do you want to say something? You don't have to if you don't want to. I'll unmute you. Yeah. How was that for you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. I didn't really feel what was the issue first, but I saw on the list it was war.
Yeah.
And then I didn't feel so much during, but after it feels very warm and nice and fuzzy and full of love.
Yeah. Warm feeling is showing you something's left because the energy releases. Okay, you've freed up the life force because the life force is not holding that program anymore.
Right.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Coco, how was that for you?
There was quite a big visceral feeling in my body when I looked at the list. I couldn't grasp what the past life was at first, but on the list it was dehydration, which makes a lot of sense to me. So when it started, I could feel the energy shifting down my arms.
Yeah.
And around my face. There's been a definite shift. And I feel much lighter.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. Karen, do you want to say how that was?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at the list, I actually kind of felt panicky whenever I saw rate, and I tried to ignore it, and I was like, there must be a reason I'm feeling that. So then whenever we went into the process of feeling it while you were doing the removal of it, I didn't really go in specific in the feeling of that, but just in the general what energy was blocking me. But I did feel a lot of warmth in the head region and tingling happening with that. Almost like, I don't know if it was wiping the memory, I'm not sure, but I felt something.
Okay, you're getting a cellular release of the program, yeah. Okay. Alana.
So of the past life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because, as you know, I'm trained in divine healing, but the way you're taking us through it is very different. So it's just using the charts differently. So it was interesting the past life that I was healing, and that I had it 7 times, whether it's parallel or not. And so it was really good to kind of let part of that go so that I can use my power. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing the flexibility of what you can do with us.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Harlan, thanks for switching on. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you for this webinar.
How was that last process for you?
It was really good. Yeah, I felt this like big release, like big feeling of love. Yeah, it felt great.
Yeah. Your warmth and love coming is about bringing the flow to us, because the life force is coming through you, and the more you're clearer, the more flow will come.
Cool.
Yeah. But it'll always go slower than we'd like. But this is a pretty quick way to get there from my own experience. So I probably spent 15, 16 years of running this business full time, barely making a living. But once I got hold of divine healing, I really could peel away using these processes to actually clear myself enough so the flow would happen. So I feel sort of qualified to talk about it a bit after a lot of hard work. So it can be done. So The dreams you all have come from the soul. It's possible to manifest it if you stay focused, and if you persist at it. You can dismantle the ego. It's possible, because there is a pathway, but it won't be what your mind thinks. Right? By following the higher self, it knows how to take the whole thing apart because it built you. Okay, so it's going to happen in the most unexpected ways, which is why following the heart, following the flow in the healing process is really important, because it's never in a straight line when we do this. So the pathway to the flow is not linear at all. It's about surrendering to the flow of the heart, and actually then your life will unfold, because as most of you have noticed, life hasn't turned out the way you thought it would. Okay, and so it's going to do magical things if you just surrender to it. Okay. So, anyone else want to share there? Elizabeth?
Yes.
Who's that?
Because Ina.
Ina. Okay, switch your camera on.
I'm just gonna real quick. So there was a lot of joy coming in, like hallelujah, please take it away. I don't need it. I need to focus on what's ahead and how to reach it. So I felt very joyous. I didn't feel any sadness, didn't feel any strong emotional. It was more like joy, like, oh yeah, let's clear that, let's get rid of that.
Yeah.
So that's what came from me.
Yeah, so focusing on where you want to go, what's in your heart, just taking at least one step to where you want to go, will actually trigger the programs which are in the way of it. It'll actually flush them out. So even though it may seem you're a long way away from getting to where you want, the first step is what matters, because you've just taken some energy away from the ego, which is trying to focus on the negative stuff, and created the reality you do desire that's in your heart. So it can actually happen. I remember when I spent 18 months writing my book, Your Subcontract Decoded, and I had no idea it was going to be published or anything like that. But I just stayed focused, and I worked on my issues with this work. And I did get a publishing deal, and it did become a bestseller, and my life changed as a result. But because I just, each day, wrote a bit of the book, did some divine healing. I did a lot of divine healing when I first started this work. And so you can all do that. The dreams can turn into reality, but they sort of creep up on you, and you suddenly realize it's actually happening, and it's not a big fanfare. It just sort of happens, and then life is different, and you're actually, spirit is taking you into the dream already, and it's not like, it's not a big issue. It just happens, and life moves on. So what we can do now is we can do a little integration here. So I'm going to share the screen again here. So we're going to go, when we do these strong charts, we actually need to also integrate what's happened, because the ego and the body can only take so much change. So we're going to go to the, where is it? Nutrition chart. I went the wrong way. So we're going to infuse energetic nutrition here, okay? So there's 2 pages of it. So what I want you to do is that there are amino acids and essential fatty acids here. So if you're drawn to one of those, pick one of those, okay? I'll go through slowly and write it down. Or just write it down there, okay? And then below that, there are some, if you could all mute, I think there's someone's, I think it's you, Beth, yeah. We go to minerals and vitamins, okay? All right. Pick one of those. All right. If you've got one of those. Okay. And then we're going to say this command code here. This is a divine healing command code, because it is asking you shall receive. So if you can switch your microphones on, we're going to say this command code together. Okay. All right. Patricia, you got a question?
Yes.
Yeah, what's the question?
I know, I was going to tell you the feeling I had when the last procedure you did.
Okay, well, just tell me briefly. Sorry,
But the whole time we've been doing this, I can't stop yawning.
Yes.
I'm releasing and releasing and releasing all the time, and my eyes are watering, and I'm burping and burping. That's what I wanted to tell you.
That means you're getting a really strong clearing.
Yeah.
That's what that means. Yeah, burping and yawning are fine. So, all right. Okay, so everybody together, repeat after me. It's very powerful as a group. Higher self.
Higher self.
Please encode this nutrient.
Please encode this nutrient.
In the perfect balance.
In the perfect balance.
That is required.
It's required.
It's required.
And clear and align.
And clear and align.
All pathways.
All pathways.
For maximum assimilation.
For maximum assimilation.
Absorption.
Absorption.
And utilization.
And utilization.
Okay, close your eyes, just breathe into it. The frequency is going into you. This is a non-linear process. This is just a pure frequency that's changing and helping you integrate all that we've done in the past hour or so. Feel the shift. Just sort of settles us down, okay? That's what that's designed to do. Okay. So that's a good yawn, Nikki. Something cleared then. Or just a long day at work. Okay. I want to yawn as well after that. So yawning and burping is pretty normal in divine healing, so don't feel embarrassed if you're doing this and stuff happens. Okay. So are there any other questions on this before I get to the next phase of this? It's okay to burp, it's fine. Burps are welcome here, okay?
That's me.
Yeah, burps are welcome.
I'm muted.
Okay. All right. Anyone got any questions about the processes we've done tonight? You can put it on. You can put it on the chat if you want at the bottom. Okay. No.
Knowledge is beyond me.
Okay. All right. So we talk a little bit more about how you can do more of this. So we've just done that. So if you'd like to work on your flow a bit more, getting more flow in your life, here are a few options for you, okay? So we offer private sessions here, a couple of hours long. You can do it in person or online. Where I'm in Surrey, England, or we can do it online anywhere in the world. And that's at freeupyourlifewithdivinehealing.com. Or a more cost-effective way is actually to learn to do it yourself, a more empowering way. We run a 4-day in-person in Surrey plus online workshop, 13th to 16th of October. So it's 12:30 to 8:30 UK time, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time in America and North in Canada, 4:30 a.m. for California, and in Europe 1:30 to 9:30 at night. So we try and cover everything from California to to Poland, to Eastern Bloc, because we had people from everywhere come on it. So that actually is equivalent to only about 5.5 hours of private session. So that means you can actually clear 80% of your own issues yourself. So it's a do-it-yourself job. The deposit's £166 or $225 US, or the full fee is $490 including the deposit. So that means that you can actually take charge of your life, and 80% of the programs can be cleared with us, and the other 20% are usually core ego programs where you need someone experienced to hold the emotional space. But it means you can work on yourself whenever you need to. And life, speaking from my own experience, doing this nearly every day for many years, totally changes since I learned that. So that's on offer there, and you can find out more about it at thedivinehealingtraining.com. A little North American here. If you sign up today Okay, you get webinar bonuses with £268 or 367. It's dollars. It's 4 MP3s. There's a 2-day soul evolution workshop. Explains how souls arrive, how it all works down here, which I did quite a while ago. And there's 3 transmission CDs, or now MP3s, with divine healing, one on abundance, and one on ascension activations and tools. Okay, so it's quite a lot of extras there. And if you sign up within 48 hours, within 2 days' time, you still get the 3 MP3s there. So this is my American marketing consultant. So I'm just trying this out. So we don't do a hard sell here, but you may be drawn to this to help you get on with your missions, to get into the flow. It's the fastest way I've found to get my mission going, and I'm a much happier bunny than I was 10 years ago, having done this work. And I never thought I'd be in this place of actually being in this flow. Things sort of just, lovely things turn up pretty much most of the time. And it's a completely different life to what I used to have, which was pretty unpleasant. So thank you all for coming and giving your precious time and for being on the path of growth. Really appreciate that. And any final comments, or we're all done?
I saw
Beth?
the sign of infinity each time something shifted. I could feel it inside my body.
Okay, good. Good. And I will send you all the video. It'll be loaded on YouTube, and probably next couple of days I'll send you the video as well, so you can. All the transmission, what we did, will be on there. Okay. So thank you for turning up. Really appreciate it. Great turnout. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night, Nicolas.
Bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.